Hello, good day. My name is Cuthbert Henry. Firstly, I am a public servant. I've been employed with the government of St. Lucia since 1999. Currently, I serve as a probation officer. I've been serving as a probation officer since 2010. Prior to that, I worked in another branch of government before going away to the UK to study at that time, where I read a bachelor's in criminology in the UK, as I said. I never planned on becoming a probation officer, but during my training, during my studies, it became clearer to me that this was what this training was suiting me for, that particular area. It was a challenging time living and working and studying in a foreign country. I had some of my family with me, which was a good thing, but that also had its challenges. Living and studying in a foreign country where the currency is exceeding yours by far is very challenging financially, but there are also positive things in those experiences. I was motivated by the thoughts I had of what I could change, what I could bring to my country when I came back. So these thoughts inspired me and kept me wanting to come back home to contribute and to help make changes, to do things, good things for the country. But when I came back, the challenges continued, and it continues as change is usually difficult for most persons. As a probation officer, I worked with many young people who sometimes just needed a slight discussion, slight guiding. They just needed to be heard. They were very challenging ones, I must admit. But they were just products of the environment. As a probation officer, you'd also work very closely with the judges and the magistrates as you'd write reports for them. These reports basically assess an individual, their capacity, the offense they have committed, their situations at home, how they grew up, their education, their shortcomings, their needs. And that report assists the judges and the magistrates in making a decision. It's a very important report that assists basically in whether you go to prison, whether you get probation, whether you get a community sentence, or whether you get help for drugs, or whatever challenge that arises from the assessment and the report. We also work with communities and families based on their needs and based on our capacity to assist them. There are many changes. It's 2021. There are many changes at the department. For example, the Child Justice Act, which was enacted about 2 years ago. These are challenges that change the scope of work. We now have more of certain things to do. We now do things differently. We assess children. We have different tools assessing children and young persons, youth, and even adults. We have different tools, but there's probably more along the line of psychometric tools and not hand tools like power saws and this sort of thing. And this video will not do justice to an understanding of all that we do at this department. We also conduct mediations, restorative practices, community service supervision, amongst other duties. We now have the parole section activated, for which you will hear from my colleague very soon. This job may be fulfilling, rather. It may not be enjoyable, because one does not enjoy seeing marginalized youth, violent, uncooperative people destroying themselves and each other. But when you do assist them to getting to a better place via whatever techniques you use, whether it's restorative practices, whether it's whatever sort of talk therapy, anger management, whatever it is we do, it's fulfilling to move them into a better place. I saw the need during my working life to increase my skills and abilities and I later completed a Master's of Science in Public Sector Management. Were great for me. I didn't have to travel because what I wanted to do was available locally and via the internet. So I was able to complete my master's degree at the University of the West Indies without spending the tons of money that I spent 15 to 16 years ago. I now serve as the assistant director in my department, and the challenges continue, but the fulfillment also continues as well. I would like to thank you, and I hope this video met your expectations. And feel free to drop in at our departments once you follow the COVID-19 protocols. Feel free to call, feel free to drop in and have a conversation with any of our colleagues. It's a generally relaxing environment, and our colleagues there are very inviting and will be able to assist you in getting a better understanding of what we do at probation. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best.